Welcome back to Grit Gym Live. I'm here with Rachel. Today we're talking about relationships. We're talking about how to make your relationships fit into the world that you want to, the way that you want to live your life. So you've got this life that you want to inspire yourself to live, right? You've got the ideal scene. You want to go and you want to do this amazing stuff in your life that's experienced beyond belief. Well, the people that you have in the relationships that you have are going to help, or they can help get you to where you want to go, and they can help keep you from what you want to be. And the more that, I think anyway, my personal opinion is the more that you work on you, the better at you that you are, the more and the better people that you bring into your atmosphere, and the more you help each other out. But Rachel's here. What we try to do is we try to come on the show and talk about how we make it all work. So how you make your fitness work, how you make your your nutrition work, how you make your recovery work, and how you make your mindset work so you can have the health game down, so your relationship can blossom because of that, and so that your relationship can positively influence your health. And today we're talking about toxic people that can take away from some of that stuff. You want to kind of do your little intro now?
My little intro, I'm Rachel.
Nah.
I'm here every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. Rachel comes on the show every Tuesday, but no, like toxic people keep you, negative people, angry people, aggressive people. Some of these things are just kind of bound to happen, and you can understand, but you can understand where they're coming from, and if you can understand where they're coming from, then you can have compassion for where they are, but at the same time, you don't want that negative influence in your life. No. Because negative people are going to keep you down where they are. Positive people are going to lift you up where they are. And when you're around a bunch of positive people, you end up just pushing up to new levels. When you're around a bunch of negative people, you hang out down at the bottom. So we've got, what do we have for toxic people? We were talking about this a little bit before. So we have bullies. We have kind of the sociopathic people that are like real sneaky. We've got criminals. We've got the angry, cheap drama. Yeah. And not the good drama. I like to stay away from that word. I think partially because people have called me a narcissist a lot.
Well,
in my
that's
life.
Their version of a narcissist.
Yeah, I think what they were saying was, what makes you think that you're enough to act the way or like what makes you think that you're enough? Like if I don't think that I'm enough, what makes you think that you're enough? And I'm like, I just want to play football. I don't know what makes me a narcissist because I want to go out. And if you look up the definition of narcissist...
I was just going to say, what's their definition of it then?
Yeah, well, yeah, how do they define it? But like me, people call me a narcissist. And like if you look up the definition, you goddamn right I'm a narcissist. I want to be the best at certain things in my life. Like I want to be the best personal trainer in the world. I want to be the best strength coach in the world. I want to be the best... I want to be the best boyfriend or whatever. Significant other. I couldn't think of what word I wanted to use. I want to be the best at those things that I want to be great at. I want to be the best, or at least one of the best. But what are some of the other like really clear toxic people?
You already said depressed, limiting beliefs. The people that are just gonna put that negative seed in your head. By
limiting belief, do you mean the people that they're just kind of always putting everybody down? They're like, no, that can't be, no, that can't be, no, that can't be.
It's not even that they're like being negative, it's just like they're just not being positive.
Okay. Yeah.
Putting a negative spin on it.
So by limiting belief, do you mean like pessimist?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. And then victims, people that are constantly putting themselves into the victim role. Addicted people.
What do you mean? Addicted people or addictive people?
Both.
Like, how do you mean?
Like it could be drugs and alcohol, or it could be like video games or something. Something that
you mean
kind of hinders any sort of.
Because I'm like you know me, like I'm an extremely obsessive person.
Well,
so I have to be really careful about my indulgences.
See, and that can be a bad thing though too.
Yeah, it totally can.
Yeah, it's a scale, I guess.
Like a lot of this stuff, like really, I think what we're going to come down to is like by the time we get through the list of people, I think it can go both ways. Like you take a depressed person, or an angry person, or an addicted person, or a victim person, and I think that a lot of the time they're begging for company in their own misery.
Misery loves company.
Misery loves company. So
that's true. They don't like to see people thriving and having a good time if they're sitting in the corner not having a good time.
They're basically drowning, and they're asking you to come drown with them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't want to drown with you. I might stick my hand below the water to help you up, but you got to grab my hand too.
So yeah, when you point that out to them, that doesn't always go well.
That does not go well.
Because they have to turn around and face the fact that they are the one causing the problem.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you're going to take absolute 100% responsibility for your life, there's going to be some things you don't like.
Yeah, but why bring other people into that mess?
What do you mean?
You know what I mean? Like, if you were to tell me that I was being a negative person, I wouldn't just, or if I was bringing you down, I wouldn't want to bring you down more. I would just want to kind of go off on my own and figure it out by myself. I wouldn't seek other people's approval because I'm not getting yours.
But people do that.
I know they do.
Have you ever heard
does it, but
what's her name? Female activist Gloria Steinem. She has that quote: "The truth will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off." I've always liked that one. Like, I think you can choose whether it's gonna if it's gonna get your goat or not.
You're not always gonna like the truth because if you're probably gonna have to work at it if this is something that you are guilty of. I've done every single one of these things on this list.
I think we all have. I think we all
Everybody
have.
does, but you have to, at some point, you have to be. You can't be selfish.
Just thought of one
in a bad way.
I thought of one when I
if you really care about your friends and the family and the people that you surround yourself with, then you need to change your behavior.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And cut the people out who are acting like that as well.
What about being willing to accept the criticism? Like if you truly
that's another toxic person, the closed-minded person.
Yeah, you had that on your list, didn't you?
Yeah, because in their head they're completely 100% right, true, God's gift to whatever, and they haven't really looked in the mirror and realized that that's the exact behavior that they are displaying to the people that they care about.
Yeah, I did a really interesting thing. There's for instance, you guys, if you want to take out a piece of paper right now, you can try this out. But go to a piece of paper, grab a piece of paper. On the left side of the piece of paper, write down 3 to 5 people that you don't like and what you don't like about them. And then on the right side of the piece of paper, write down 3 to 5 people that you admire and that you would like to be more like, and write down the things that you do admire about them and what you like about them. And what you'll find is that on the left side of the piece of paper, the things that you wrote down that you didn't like about you, those are things that you do or that you act or behave, whatever, that you don't like it that you do. And the ones on the other side on the right side are going to be things that you don't let shine in your own life. You don't let come out in your own life. The first time I did it, I was like, oh man, that floored me out. That was crazy. But it's a really good practice to try. But we kind of just segued into the truth thing, didn't we?
I guess, yeah.
Do you want to try to hit them over the head with truth?
You can start that out.
Truth is almost like a philosophical thing that's Rach and I have had a pretty good go with. It's finding clarity within what, do you want my truth or do you want your truth, or whose truth are we going to talk about? Because what were we using before? What was the medium? Oh, tidiness.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what I find tidy and what Rachel finds tidy are two different things. Like, she'll look at a room and be like, what's the matter with this room? I'll be like, it's a pigsty. And she'll be like, you're just OCD as hell. You need to lighten up. I'm like, no, I will not lighten up. So it's true to me that it's not tidy enough, and it's true to her that it is tidy enough. Or it's true to some people that this cup is white, and it's true to other people that this cup is, I don't know, gray. And so you'd be fighting over truth. So the truth will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off. Well, first we got to get clear on the truth. Whose truth?
Okay. So.
Yes, Aaron says toxic people are why boundaries are so. She had like 8 O's. So important. And
So,
she
yeah,
said thoughts on that.
You want to cut someone out of your life that is toxic. If they're that toxic, then they should be cut off.
Oh, really? This is very surprising hearing this.
I'm not saying it's not like. I think if you really do want this person in your life, then you should give them the boundaries, and then if they don't go by those boundaries, and you kind of give them like these. I don't want to negotiate on this at all. If this happens, I can't talk to you. I can't be around you. I can't keep continuing to have a conversation with you, go out with you.
We have stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like when one of us is getting a little...
the non-negotiables?
Yeah, when one of us is getting a little scared. When one of us starts getting angry. So I get angry, Rach goes internal. I do not. I get angry, she gets anxious. Anyway, when one of us does this, we very clearly say, like, I'm not going to go with you on this, I'm not going to go with you where you're going right now, and we will... Like, I'll go for a walk outside, or I'll go into another room, or I usually go and try to meditate, because I know that I'm doing this silly thing where I'm scared of something, I don't even know what it is, and I try to get clear on what that is. She goes and does her own thing for a little while, and we both get clear separately so that when we can come back together, now we can have a discussion about it instead of just beating each other up over something silly.
Yeah, well, a lot of relationships that I've seen, they just fight to fight. Like,
yeah. That works out real well.
I don't know. It just doesn't do my body any good to do that.
No. The cheap drama stuff does not work out for anybody. And I think that's what I mean. Like, if you start getting into that cheap drama stuff, like, someone's got to have the guts to walk away and to come back later.
I mean, you can't go on forever.
Well, you could. Be a waste. I would call that probably like a not very awesome experience. But boundary wise, there's time vampires, there's energy vampires, there's effort vampires, there's pessimist vampires that are always gonna like when I started to go to gym, everybody was like, "Who wants personal training, dude? You can't do that. You can't start a gym. No one wants that." Tons and tons and tons of people put it down, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna do it anyway." I don't care. But people telling me that I can't do things is kind of a
trigger.
Yep, big trigger. You can't play college football. You can't do this. You won't be better than so and so.
Well,
that obsession kind of took off.
Yeah.
But yeah, where do you set your boundaries? So like that's what I was trying to go into was like the clarity thing on boundaries, because some people it's hard to hear that sometimes.
Well, I think that maybe first identifying that someone is to the point where they need to have boundaries set. It's kind of the first step, obviously.
You mean just stating that you need boundaries?
Well, because it's not going to be an easy conversation for you, but it's really not going to be an easy conversation for them, because it's like news to them that I'm not saying this for everybody. Yeah. Like some people do it on purpose, but it can be news to them.
You mean it's hard enough to say it, let alone to hear it?
Yeah. To hear that you are a toxic person and that you bring drama and you have an agenda is kind of probably hard to hear.
I think we all do it on some level at some point. Like some people, everybody's like on this like kind of like a spectrum or whatever. That is, I mean, I did it at the airport that one day. Like,
oh my god.
Like,
I can tell the story of this because you.
No, I don't even want to tell the whole story. But like, I basically ended up calling the lady a racist. Yeah, because I mean, I was just tired of getting patted down and treated different, and it's just like.
Which I don't think that was what was going on at all, from my point of view. Maybe you still do, but like I think you're.
TSA is bullshit.
We weren't even in the TSA line.
Later we were, though.
But we weren't, when you called the lady a racist, we were at the
I didn't actually call her a racist, but...
He says, every time...
No, just leave it out. It was not my finest moment.
Okay.
I said every time something, and anyway.
It's okay. But, I mean, okay, so someone...
But everybody has these... What I was saying was everybody has these toxic moments.
What?
Everybody has these
Oh, yeah,
toxic
we've
moments,
all
and some
acted
people
like that.
repeat them over and
But
over
to
and over.
repeat it and to like bring it onto other people is kind of where you go wrong.
Whose responsibility is that? Is that the other person's ability to manage their own influence that the negative person has on them, or the toxic person has on them, or is it the not toxic person's responsibility?
Well, I'd say the people around them should have the guts to confront them on it.
I think so too.
That way, you kind of have to be aware.
To me,
Like,
the confrontation is a win-win. Either the person wakes up and takes it as like, oh my gosh, I am being a POS,
yeah.
or the person storms off and you never see him again. Win-win.
Well, that could happen. Yeah. Like, say you're like in a, like you're dealing with someone with road rage or like some rude person that you don't even know.
Yeah.
And they come out of nowhere being rude to you. Then you can just look at them and be like, you notice that they are not angry at you. They're angry about something that has nothing to do with you.
That's a good point.
To like say that to their face, like, I understand, like you seem very angry, and I'm assuming it's not me because I didn't do anything. So I'm assuming that you're dealing with something outside of this situation.
I don't think you even have to assume. Like, why would it have anything to do with you? Even if
But they have to like look at themselves and be like, okay, wait, what? All right.
I've rarely seen a situation where the person that whatever they were mad about was the thing that they were doing.
Wait, what?
Like it was on them. The person that got mad, it was on them.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the car, like traffic. It had nothing to do with that. Like, usually someone that has road rage is on their way to somewhere and they want to get there quickly, and if somebody cuts them off, they're going to use that moment to kind of
And they probably didn't even get cut off. They probably like,
yeah, and who knows? They're
like,
looking for a way to explode.
And they found it.
Yeah.
But what about that? What about you? Is it powerful for you to take that and be like, oh, I feel so bad for that man that was giving me the finger?
No, but you're acknowledging that you could take it offensively and you could be like, oh God, like, I'm an asshole, like, I cut him off. Or you could
Or what a jerk.
recognize it and be like, are you okay?
I don't even do that. I just kind of laugh at it.
Like, it's a friend that's being toxic and you see this and you point that out to them. Are you being a bad friend by saying this, or are you being a good friend? You're being a good friend because you're acknowledging that they are hurting somewhere inside, or that they are having like a problem outside of this situation.
Yeah. So what about switching gears on you a little bit? But like, what about the bully? Because the bully is something interesting. Like personally, I think we've had about 10 years now of the anti-bully campaign, and the anti-bully campaign teaches kids to go find an adult right away. But I think that they've just massively failed and screwed up. Well, they've succeeded in teaching kids that mommy and daddy's always around the corner, or that you can go and scream to a teacher, or that you can narc out, that you can rap, you can tattletale, that you can, and that someone's coming to save you. But at some point, I mean, we get this with interns, we get this with young people that that don't like their job.
I've gotten that. Like, I had a...
And they keep on running to mommy and daddy, and it's like, kid, I don't know what to tell you.
Time.
What do you mean?
Like, someone will have an argument with another coworker, or like have a problem, and they come to me saying, I felt very disrespected, and they talk to me like this, and I'll just be like, okay, so what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't seem like an issue that I, as their boss, am going to do anything about. Besides, I can bring them together and have them talk. That's about it.
And that shouldn't probably
and
be a
if
thing
you're,
for a boss.
yeah.
But like the way that I even found out that this is how the anti-bullying thing was handling things, I knew about the anti-bullying campaign. I didn't know that there was like, I knew they had steps, but I didn't know what the steps were. So I was with my nephew. I saw him kind of get, not bullied. He was playing with another kid's toy, and the other kid asked for it back. He didn't give it back, and then his older brother came and took it from him. So he thought that the kid was being a jerk. Well, perception, right? But they didn't, like, it probably could have been handled better, but he thought he was bullied. And I was like, well, if you're being, and we had this talk later after he calmed down. He's like, well, I'm like, if you're being bullied, what do you need to do? And and this is a little boy that gets bullied all the time by his older siblings and like constantly. And he was like, go find an adult. I'm like, no, dude, you need, like, what do you need to do? We talked it out for like the longest time. And finally he's like, stick up for myself. I'm like, yeah, that's what you got to do. How are you going to stick up for yourself? And that was a whole nother conversation. But I was just like, what do you mean you're going to go find an adult? You don't have enough time to do that. Adult's not always going to be around. Someday you're going to be the adult. Like, I'm not saying grow up, kid, but stick up for yourself. Like, now we've got this group of young 20-year-olds that have no idea how to stick up for themselves. That was a rant. That was called a rant. And I'm going to remove myself from my soapbox real quick.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's different with kids. I can't really speak on that.
I don't
but
think
like,
it's that
it is a start to like kind of not so good behavior as far as like you have a problem.
I think it's
go find someone else to fix it.
I think that's like part of the thing with the political stuff now that you're seeing though. Like everybody's like saying like government help me. They've like positioned the government as their mom and dad. Like help me. I like you're in the real world now. There is no mom and dad anymore.
Yeah, you should definitely stand up to somebody who's treating you like garbage. Otherwise, they'll do it again.
Yeah.
They're gonna find you every single time.
And they'll always look for that bully. Like, I'm lucky enough that, or fortunate enough that I haven't been.
Look for the bully?
Yeah, like the bullied needs a dance partner. The victim needs a dance partner. You can't just, like, the bully will position someone else, even though they're doing it to themselves. They'll set somebody else up to bully them, to victimize them.
I think that's a learned behavior. I don't think that's like right off the bat.
100%. I totally agree, but they will.
Okay. Well,
you ruined this for me. You did this. I'm not saying like this is stuff that I've heard before. Like you knocked me off my focus. Like like I told you, good job. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I don't think Noah was looking to be bullied quite yet, but like down the road,
yes,
he's gonna get used to having everybody else fix his problems.
There's actually a psychological term for this, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's like when you have a trauma and then you later in your life you set yourself up for that trauma over and over again. Like little kids that are sexually abused will do that as they get older, and like that's obviously like an awful tragic case.
Different for everybody, but yeah.
But anyway.
So, and bullies, that's a learned thing as well. They probably are the saddest people in the room because they are constantly looking for, I don't know, friendship, to be liked.
Yeah.
Or to get...
If you read parenting books on the bully thing, which is kind of weird because we don't have kids yet, but I've read enough, or a few parenting books. You didn't know that, did you? Anyway, the bully thing is kind of interesting because the parents of kids that get bullied or that become bullies are the ones that's the theory, is that they teach the kid how to do so. That they bully the kid and then the kid goes to school and gets bullied, or they bully the kid and the kid goes to school and bullies others. But like where I grew up, where I went to school, the absolute worst thing that you could be, the worst, the most, like you didn't get beat up in the hallway for being a nerd. You didn't get thrown in lockers for being kind of a loser. But if someone would have ever narked or tattletaled or anything like that, like you would have gotten just you just got the shit kicked out of you. Like we just never did that. It was just an understood thing. It was the worst thing you could be. But I think it was a little different at our school. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one of my friends got everybody to say something bad as a 1, 2, 3 and then go, and we all screamed it, and our coach got really mad at us.
Who?
What?
At who?
It was during a baseball game.
I was saying a bad word.
Yeah, it was a bad word. And so we all got in trouble because no one would give up that guy. And this is a bunch of guys that didn't. There's 3 different groups on that one baseball team that didn't like each other. But no one would give up that guy, even though we didn't like each other. No one would give up that guy because no one wanted to be that rat.
Nobody wants to be a rat.
Nobody wants to be a rat. Like if what are you gonna do if you're that tattletale person? You're just gonna go. You're gonna tell mommy and daddy.
I think
Anyway.
over time you're gonna have to be able to like figure out how to confront those situations without mommy and daddy.
But that was supposed to be I did a really poor job of that. That was being the lead in to the sneaky toxicity and the self toxicity. So what are some of the sneaky ones? We've got the closed-minded, the pessimist, the manipulator, the depressed person who is trying to ask you to be depressed with them, trying to suck you in. Not necessarily the person that has like a mental illness, but a person that is trying to suck you into their scenario. And, like beyond the obvious, like the criminals and the thieves and the super overly aggressive
Compulsive
people,
liars.
the compulsive liars. But the people who are like, what? So what are some of the
Sneaky ones? The
Yeah.
people that are like your best friends or like family members?
It can be. Well, even like, what about like your self toxicity, like your own.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can be toxic to yourself. You can have, self-doubt and fear.
This is an interesting conversation. I meant to say this up front, but like Rach and I don't have a good track record in this department. Like Rach and I are both the types of people that we just believe in everybody. We're like
Me more than you.
way more her than me. I'm much more skeptic than she is, but
I'm empathetic, and I want to see that people can do better.
but on a level that's like crazy. Like you could be like a murdering bank robber, terrible person, and just coming off of your latest heights, and Rachel would be like, "Oh, you just need a hug, don't you?" Like, yeah, I'll help you out.
I think some of them do need hugs.
Yeah, they probably do.
Like they just need one person to be like, actually, I don't know.
And then they knife you,
Or they steal a bunch of money.
and then they steal a bunch of money from you.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. Everybody's different. You can't put this into a book and say this is how this person's gonna act if you say this. You know what I mean? Everybody
That would
has
be
their
pretty
own,
tough.
their own.
Kind of perception of the truth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What time is it?
People are unpredictable as well.
Yeah,
So,
they totally are. But some
you
of the
kind of have to
I guess we go for it.
figure out how to, I don't know, disarm it. The talks in you and in other people.
I think you just have
so
to
you
be,
can like notice it.
personally,
right off
like
the bat.
the only way that I've found to deal with this is just to be just an outrageous amount of discipline to conscious awareness. Like if I'm in a room,
Yeah.
I have to be in this certain room, and I know that there's 10 people in here that are super toxic. I have to be extremely aware of what I allow to influence me.
Yeah, you can't let someone who is being toxic or yourself distract you from that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to guard it with your life, because if 9 times out of 10 they've probably done this same scenario with many people, and they know
don't know
how to
that
get into their heads.
And they probably don't even know that they're doing it, which makes it even
No,
more.
not
You
even.
don't, and if you don't know that they're doing it,
No,
even worse.
exactly.
So the only way that I found is just
Because you've already
massive
been
amounts of discipline.
taken advantage of by that time.
Yeah. What about the obvious ones? The obvious toxicity. So, like we were writing some of these down beforehand, and Rachel had an employee that was thieving. Is that a word?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, he's stealing. They caught him. Anyway, I can let you know. But I had a guy that I was working with. Yeah, we're not using any names, but I had a guy that I was working with, and he had taken like the promo. This was at a gym that I worked at a long time ago, and he had taken like the promo stuff that they had out to give to new members, and I saw it in his bag, and I didn't really care. Like, it's his life, it's his go, it's his thing. And I remember being like, "Did you just take some of that stuff?" And I was expecting him to be like, yeah, just swipe some, just to help promote a little bit or something like that, you know. And he goes, yeah, I see stuff like that, and I just have to grab it. I'm like, what? Like, and I don't remember how the rest of the conversation went, but
So
like that's a problem.
He acknowledges that it's a problem?
I don't think he does. I think he just thinks like it's just like I gotta have it, like I just do it. It's just something I do. But he's like a super thief. I mean,
So
I'm amazed that he's
truth.
still. Yeah, it's
That he
like
has to
I think
have it.
somehow he justifies it in his head that it's okay to take those things because this guy stole thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. He embezzled I don't know how much. He would write down people that he didn't work with and turn it anyway. They gave you a lot of opportunity to do it, but anyway, he's not a good guy, right? But it was just kind of an interesting thing. And then you had the guy that came in, it seemed like the greatest guy, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
not so great.
Well, I don't know. It was an odd situation, but people can use their disguise to somehow gain your trust. And if they've done it enough times, they get really good at it. So
I think it was because he probably could have gotten away with it if he would have just taken less, and he probably could have gotten away with it.
Yeah, but like at some point, it was
and I think
part of his
even that
his
last
set
check
behavior.
If he hadn't said what he said for his last check, I don't know if they would have taken it.
Yeah.
If it would have worked out that way, and then he came in and got it. And
No. Let's move on.
a little uncomfortable on this, a little too fresh.
No. Yeah.
Like I think that people just, I think certain toxic people they ask for this, like they ask for the rejection, for the abandonment, for the whatever. But those aren't really real things. How could you ever be rejected? How could you ever be offended? How could you, if you have nothing to defend, how could you ever be attacked? Like, how could you ever be rejected? It's a solo trip. There's no one else that's ever been in here but me.
Well, at some point,
There's no one ever other than
they start to. What do they have to lose? Like, they've already been caught, so it's just they've been found out, so they just keep going on with the same behavior, and you continue to think that they're a good person, and you trust them, and like you've had all this time with them, and you kind of reminisce and. Like that's how they are, but it's to the point where they can't turn back. They've already crossed you too many times. They've already taken advantage of you. What
if they say that it's the first time? Like, let's say this like different person. You catch them stealing from the cash register. They worked for you for 10 years. You know them really well, and you catch them stealing, and you're like. And they go, oh, I'm sorry, I can't believe I did this one time. I just needed a little extra money. And you're like, why didn't you just come to me? I would have advanced your paycheck or blah, blah, blah. Like, would you keep them around or would you fire them right then?
I know you do.
What would you do, though? I know why I would do what I would do. Well,
I know what you should do. They should be done. Because anything, even if they didn't do it again, anything that would go up missing or I would lose, I would drive myself crazy because I'd be like, I know who it is.
Yeah. See, that's not why I would fire him, though.
I know. Well,
I would fire him because it's a lie. It's not the first time. It is not the first time. It's not the first time that they. That's not the first time they stole from you. It's the first time they got caught. I would fire him.
I mean, yeah, you would have to fire him no matter how hard it was.
Yeah.
It was very hard to talk about that person being so negative. That person that was stealing. To say like negative things towards this person that we thought was awesome.
Yeah. Who
wouldn't hurt a fly. Blah, 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 blah. Could go to every single person. They're like, oh yeah, great guy, blah, blah, blah. But for this instance, it was just like none of that mattered anymore because there was a lot to lose. There was everybody's money to lose. There was inventory to lose. Like you never know
there's a relationship
where it could go after that.
Yeah. The
relationship was already damaged. And I think he knew that. So
it's good that you confronted him right away though.
I didn't. I don't think I would have to work up to that. I'm working on that. the confrontation thing is not always easy, especially when it's somebody that you care about.
But that's the person you should confront first.
I know, it is.
We have this thing where, like, I say, I want you to confront me on things, like, very, very clear. Like, please do. If I have a booger in my nose and it's dangling out, you better tell me. If I'm acting like an a-hole, you know, I'm trying to curse less on the show. If I'm acting like a jerk, you should probably let me know. Because I might not know.
Yep.
How's it go so far?
I think I'm getting better at it.
I think you are too. I think you're doing great.
Good.
All right. Well, it's about time to wrap up the show. Do you want to wrap it up? Do you want to do the ending?
No, you can. I'll elaborate on what you said.
Oh, I'm gonna do the beginning of the ending, and you're gonna finish it off.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, this is a topic that we weren't super comfortable doing today because neither of us have a very good track record of this. I have just a long list of pretty toxic people, pretty negative people in my life that I didn't do a very good job of confronting, and I didn't do a good job of walking away from, and just naive, I think is what I would chalk it up to. And it's very easy for an idealist, which a lot of the people that watch this show, a lot of you guys, are strong in the idealist department. And Rach is super strong in the idealist department. And it's super easy for a idealist to become very cynical about the world because we just want to help, right? So we weren't really sure how this show would go, but I think it went decent. If there's things that you guys comments, perspectives, that's what I was trying to say.
Stories.
Perspectives, stories that you guys have, you can put in the comment section, or ways that you've learned to, especially ways that you've learned, strategies that you've learned to recognize toxic people, how to deal with toxic people, besides just going like bull in a child in a closet, head straight forward, attacking them.
Cold turkey, just ghosting them.
Ghosting them is typically like a pretty...
That's typically what people do because they don't know how to handle the situation, but...
I ghost people for different reasons. We should have talked about ghosting people. Maybe next week we'll talk about ghosting, why you would ever just ghost somebody and what that actually means.
Okay.
But anyway, thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. Please hit the share button and send this out to everybody that you know. It helps get the message out. We just want to inspire the experience that you want to live, and we think that you deserve that. And I know that we've done a ton of work on our relationship and learning more about how to support each other, and still have a ton to learn. So this is kind of like documentation along the way. But what can you learn from a weird couple that started getting a relationship coach from the very beginning? I don't know, probably some weird stuff. But if you're here to be normal, you're in the wrong place. What would you like to send them off with?
That was good.
That was it?
On that.
Yeah, so I did all that.
If you're here to be normal, then you're in the wrong place.
Maybe we should get shirts.
Okay.
You're in the wrong place.
With your face on them.
Toxic is normal. Like the beard?
Yeah.
Like the beard one? All right, thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you. Rachel will see you next Tuesday. I'll see you tomorrow. I think we have an interview tomorrow, too. I'm almost positive we have an interview tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it.